Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Power of Why 29 musicians climb to superstar. Please give everyone a round of applause because they are amazing. They have accomplished so much, and I'm so excited and so grateful that they are here. This year, we ventured into the Power of Why Musicians series, which is an anthology series about musicians who you're going to meet today. There's 125 chapters throughout the entire series, and I've been working with the lovely Wendy H Jones. Give a little wave, Wendy. You're going to hear from her a little bit later. And the lovely Lisa, who is our editors, and they've just guided our path as we have worked together as a team to bring this to you, along with my assistant and wonderful right arm, Miss Joanne Barker. Give a little wave there. So we're going to just do a little bit of a roundtable today so that you get a chance to hear and meet the author musicians that are in the Power of Why 29 musicians climb to superstar status. So I've got a couple of little introductions. I want to make sure that we're really realizing how impactful it is when we share our stories. Not only as an author, but as a reader of other publications. Sometimes something just resonates with you so deeply that it can move you to make a shift in your life and to pivot and then evolve into something that you never even thought you might achieve in your life. And that's really the power of why. So I would love to introduce you to our first musician slash author, which is Joanne. And I would love it if all of you would just share a little bit about, where you're from, what you do in your profession, and what was really the why behind your success. So Joanne, can you start us off?
Hi there, I'm Joanne Barker. I live in southwestern Ontario, Canada, about an hour and a half from Toronto and about an hour and a half from Detroit, for those who know the States. I am a studio owner, I'm a composer, I'm a curriculum creator, and I'm very proud to be the Ultimate Music Theory Creative Design Manager. So I make games and all sorts of teaching aids for the program. For me, writing a chapter and indeed being involved with all the books has let me have a chance to reflect on what I've done. I'm the little lowly piano teacher from the country. Not at all. I thought I was going to be a superstar in another field or another direction in music, but I ended up being a superstar in a very different way. To be open to an opportunity, and thank you for that, Glory, and to be able to adapt, that's how I got to be where I am today. And I'm just so grateful to be the kind of superstar that I ended up being.
Yep. And you really did, Joanne. Joanne is a cancer survivor. She's gone through multiple surgeries. She's being very modest with sharing her what she has overcome, the obstacles in order to arrive at where she is today, a very successful program creator in her own right with her independent music, piano music program, group program she's created. So congratulations, Joanne. You are a superstar. And when you shine brightly like that, it really resonates with all the kids that you teach too. So it's amazing. So our second one is Miss Karen. So Karen, give a little intro and what's your why? And congratulations, you've got a lot of success this year as well.
I have. It's been a really, really good year. I am Karen Hedges, and my husband and our family own and operate Shiloh Music Center in Mount Juliet, Tennessee. We've been doing that for 47 years. And I have my teaching studio here at the store, and we have 16 teachers and 9 studios and 5 piano teachers, 2 of which are former students of mine, which is really rewarding. And who would have thought, 46 years ago when I started teaching, as I was writing the chapter, I'm like, Joanne, I had to reflect on what I've done over 46 years. And it's hard to write about yourself. It's hard to say, well, I've done this and I've done this. But as I started reflecting on everything, I was amazed at how much I have done with teaching students all over, the 46 years in the Mount Juliet community, and overseeing our music program, which is just a blessing. It's a lot of fun. And it has been great. And then the one thing that the pinnacle, and it's the last paragraph of my chapter, is that in September I was awarded and inducted into the Steinway Music Teacher Hall of Fame. I was totally surprised by that. And it was like the biggest award that I could get, of just saying, job well done. And then writing this chapter as well helped me reflect on all that I've done. So this has been a really good year.
Yes, it really has.
Thank you, Glory, for asking me to do this.
Absolutely. And congratulations, Karen. I actually had the privilege of not only meeting Karen, but going for lunch and also presenting a workshop for her teachers when I was visiting Nashville and went to Mount Juliet. So thank you for that honor and the privilege of connecting with all of your teachers, Karen. It was wonderful. So we're going to do a little trip and go over to Mr. Bradley. How are you doing, sir?
Hi, I'm great. I'm Bradley Sowash. And I'm in Columbus, Ohio, where my studio is. I go back and forth from Columbus in the middle of Ohio to the southeastern corner in the foothills of Appalachia to our family farm. So I call myself a jazz pianist, composer, author, educator who specializes now in helping recovering classical pianists learn to put their books away and play the music in their heart. So I work with established, pianists who are maybe new to jazz and improvisation, and I really enjoy that. So reflecting on the chapter that I wrote, it was a little bit tough for me to write for the same reasons that Karen said. It's odd to sort of just trump out all your, achievements as if you're applying for a job or something like that. So instead I went the other way, and I noticed some other of you did that as well, and talked a little bit about the tough spots, how when we see bios and we see awards and the things that get mentioned in publicity, they're often only showing the high points, but any working musician has had a lot of struggle and a lot of self-doubt, because it seems to come with this art form which demands such dutiful practice and sometimes over perfectionism. So that gave me a chance to say, yeah, look, it may look like what I've achieved is enviable, but I want to be clear that there's some tough spots in there, and you're going to have tough spots too. And the other thing I thought about was that in my teaching of many accomplished pianists and my pedagogy work with piano teachers, the message that I would use is permission, the word permission. It seems like as musicians, we are looking for permission to do what we want to do. And we do have that permission. In other words, you can live your musical life on your own terms. And my journey, looking back on it from this chapter, was to recognize that I had to almost crash and burn before I could realize that I had the right to be the musician that in the way that I wanted to be. And so thank you, Glory, for helping me reflect on that.
Yeah. Thank you, Bradley. A couple things about Bradley. I wanted to share too why it's so cool that we are all here together as musicians, because we really do support each other and we learn from each other. And I was very excited to sign up for Bradley's course on jazz and learning jazz and in particular over the Christmas season. And I think it's important that we realize that we can still learn. I've never studied jazz at that level, so I was so excited to get into learning, and hopefully I'll have a chance to practice some of those licks over the holidays, and it'll be great. But I just have one more thing to share. I don't know if all of you have read the book yet, but you definitely want to read it. The chapters are amazing. And when I read Bradley's chapter, I actually laughed out loud because I was right there living every single moment. And it's all I'm going to say, just a little teaser. When you read it, you're going to go, yep, been there, done that. Yes, been there, done that. It was really great. It was a little secret diary that he opened up and shared with us. So stay tuned. Thanks for sharing that, Bradley. That was fun. And we're heading over Nashville, Tennessee, Mr. Ray St. Germain.
Well, hello there. Yes. My name's actually Raymond Neville David St. Germain Jr. So that's why I go by Ray. Anything short and simple and easy. So looking back on writing that chapter, obviously I'm honored to be a part of it with all you fine musicians, and it's pretty amazing. Fun fact real quick though, Karen, you may notice I'm actually in Mount Juliet also, and there's two guitars that actually came from Shiloh Music Center right back here. So I visit that store quite often. So, but I never see you there. It doesn't work out. But anyway, one of these times it will. So
I'm always
a lot of it
teaching.
There you go. Exactly. But looking back on the chapter, a lot of it, echoing somewhat of what Bradley said, a lot of it is you look at, what are the accolades and what have you done? And really a lot of it came from failures and things that didn't transpire, and learning from those things. Being courted by Sony Records with a band and going through the record deal and then losing that and then getting another record deal and going through all of that and money going and then bands breaking up and all those things. And it really became a journey of different paths that I took. And each one of those paths have led to something different. And on each one of those journeys, I've always tried to make myself indispensable. So whether it was working a day job just to try to pay some bills while playing Tootsies downtown at night or whatever it was, I always had that mentality where, I'm going to pay my way. I'm going to make sure that I've always got something going on. And then be that person that whether it's, I'm, planting plants in the middle of a hospital, for a company, I'm going to be that guy that is indispensable, that if I'm not there that day, everyone goes, God, I wish he was here because it would make our life so easy. And same way in music, I've always tried to be that guy in any band that I've been in, just to be there, be the responsible one, show up on time, have the right gear, leave nothing. And everyone I've surrounded myself has always had that same mentality. And so in looking back and doing this, it's really just been a journey of paths for me. And I've always thought that success is the journey. And I still feel like I'm on the journey. And this whole journey has been successful to me because it's led me to where I am today. And I always look to see what it's going to lead to. And writing's always been a passion of mine. And it actually opened up my eyes and said, you know what, I need to sit down and write this story that I've been wanting to do forever. So this felt like a great opportunity to get those juices flowing again, and still have music. That's never going to change. That's always there. And as musicians, you all know that if it's in you, it's always going to be there, So I'm just blessed to have all those things and a family that is extremely supportive. My wife and my daughter who unfortunately, sometimes I think unfortunately, maybe it's fortunate, but she's definitely got the bug also. And she's moving forward. She wants to do it also. So thanks again for letting me be a part of this. And I'm looking forward to see what everyone's journey leads them to, because I know mine, you just have to be ready to change paths, change courses, change directions if you have to, but always stay on that path, because that journey is what success is to me.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. I might steal that. Success is the journey. We need to write that down. I love that, Ray. Success is the journey. You're right. You're so right. And speaking of success being the journey, Ray is actually working on another album coming out, or certainly EP coming out soon. Singer-songwriter extraordinaire, and and obviously son. So we're so blessed to enjoy his music always. So thank you, Ray. I really appreciate you sharing your story. And it's a great story. So we're going to move over. We're going to go across the water and head over to Australia with Mr. Paul.
G'day, Glory and everyone. And Glory, thank you so much for the opportunity to be part of these books. It's just been so wonderful and such an experience to take yourself through to talk about what you do. And in this last one, my colleague Gillian Erskine and I decided we would write together and tell our story. We both probably suffer with a little bit of imposter syndrome. I think that's one of those things that is rife in the piano teaching industry. Not only that, we're Australian, so we have this thing in Australia called the tall poppy syndrome. You don't want to get too big for your boots, and so people will pull you down. And it's rising over that and really being able to celebrate what you've been doing and how you've been doing it. And I know with Gillian and I, we've been working together for 27 years now with our music schools, and we have music schools in Australia, New Zealand, UK, and as of this year, we are that excited that we've opened in the USA. And it's just been so wonderful to explore that. And with over 8,000 students, we're just amazed that people are really interested in finding a different way to teach music and explore music, so that we get more kids learning music for longer and into adulthood. And I think that for us is one of our biggest and most important things, that children have music for life and that they can play music into their 70s, 80s, 90s, 100s.
Yes.
And so that is such a wonderful thing that we can give children. And if we can keep them on that pathway, I think we're going to make a much, much better society as well.
Yeah, absolutely, Paul. And, even as I was reading your chapter with Gillian, and I thought, isn't it amazing how you start off with an idea and the next thing you know, you've got 8,000 students and in music schools in 4 countries. Like, how does that even happen? So
I know,
it is.
right?
It's just by taking one step, and then you just don't know where it would lead you. But congratulations on all your success as well. It's amazing. Yes, I see that you have. What bridge is that behind you now? Are you pretending you're in New York or something?
That's the Sydney Harbour Bridge.
Oh, is
And
it the
there's-
Sydney Harbour?
Yes,
Oh,
and you
okay.
can see that's the Opera House.
Oh, there's
There.
this. Oh, okay, you really are there. Oh, that's wonderful.
I really am there.
Well, thank you, Paul. And say hi to Gillian for us. We're missing her today. We're going to travel over to Mr. Rami. How are you doing, sir?
Okay, thank you. I have no bridges behind me. I'm Rami Barnev. I'm from Israel, and a lot of my times I spend in the States, that is the United States, America. I'm a composer, pianist, but teacher, author. Oh, yes, of course. Yes, and yeah, I already wrote 2 books before, so I practiced a lot before writing the chapter for your book. But it's a great idea, and I was surprised, of course, to be asked to write a chapter for this. I never knew I was a star, a superstar, or famous, but sometimes it felt like it, and it felt good actually, performing for 5,000 people someplace, or 3,000 even, or having people light candles or lighters and wave them up in the air while I played. Felt like a rock star. So yeah, sometimes it felt good, but mainly it was hard work, no matter what. No matter what you have to go through, just hard work, and whatever happens, happens. And I guess it did happen a bit. And if you give me another 75 years, maybe I will get up there.
Yes.
That's it. Anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you, Rami. And it's Rami's birthday month, so we'll say a little happy birthday.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Wonderful birthday. Thank you so much, Rami. And we're going to head over to Miss Rebecca.
Hi, Glory. Hi, everyone. Thank you for inviting me to write this chapter. Glory and Joanne have been a huge support system for me, just popping up now and then and giving their congratulations. And it's so nice. Thank you. So I'm Rebecca Featherstone, and I am in Dundas, Ontario, which is just outside of Toronto. I own a music school in Toronto that has been operating as an in-home lesson service, and at a York school, at a private school as well, for about 14 years. And I have about 10 teachers. And that's just kind of does its own thing, really. And during the past 18 months, I recently became the founder of a tech startup, which has been a big change in my life because I am not a technology person, although now I am.
Yes.
And it's been a bit of a whirlwind this last year, but I'm thankful that I have the piano training in my background, because part of the business world is, and the technology world is, also consists of a lot of failures constantly, a lot of criticism constantly. And one of the things that I often think about is when I was in college doing my performance degree And every month we had a performance practice in front of a panel of our teachers. And they would sit there under the spotlights and they would never say anything nice. They would just tell us how we could be better. And that constant constructive criticism, I think, really built me into where I am today. And so I wrote my chapter about resiliency, because during this whole journey with this tech startup, Musicology, which is a video conference platform for teaching online, I met all sorts of people in the non-music world, in the very deep business world of large money investments, and they were not all nice people. And I had to learn to really not take that personally and see everything that happened to me as a lesson. And I think that's, you teach music lessons that way as well, is you make mistakes, and you're supposed to make mistakes when you're learning a song. And it's the same application in everyday life, really, and in business and technology and any job. And those are important aspects. So yeah, I hope you like my chapter, and I hope it makes sense to you. But I'm glad that I am still here, because I tell you, the last few months, I thought that I was going to be on my way to the hospital a few times.
Well, and you know, congratulations for launching, you know, a business startup. When we think about it, many of us, you know, started, and we've shared our stories, and Karen and, you know, Bradley and Joanne and Paul and so on, and Ray, just about how you start up and you're just, it's scary. And then when, I'm so glad that you wrote your chapter, because years from now, you're going to look back and go, oh, brother, that was nothing compared to what I'm dealing with now. And, you know, if they were all only musicians, then perhaps they would understand the process, Rebecca, all your tech people that are working there. So it's wonderful. But congratulations. I know you've been working really hard on that. So that's wonderful. Thank you, Rebecca. And now we're going to go over to Yin Yin. Hello, Yin Yin.
Hi, everyone. First of all, I'd like to congratulate everyone for such interesting article, and I enjoy it very much. And thank you, Glory, for this opportunity. The things I learned from the past 2 years is overcome the crisis. And before that, of course, for the 4 decades, I've been teaching students, piano students, and empower them. And I also turned into be able to have that ability to have a group of wonderful supporter they willing to accomplish my mission to help out the people needed to be helped. So what I'm talking about, the first thing, overcome the crisis, because during the pandemic, as you know, we all become very high-tech stuff from someone don't know anything about technology thing. But I've been teaching and being a pianist and chamber musician. Suddenly, just like I inspired from composer Christopher Norton and all these composers, I was started compose because during the pandemic, you start to feel the nature created by God, and you searching for inner soul much more. So lots of my musician friends, they say, oh, Ying, how come you start to compose? But also because I want to uplifting my brother. He was going through the battle of the fighting for the cancer. So that's my journey. I think it's every day, just from the little thing you do, you can create something big, because you never know, music is such powerful tools. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Can you share where you're from?
Oh yeah, I came from Taiwan. So that's why my chapter is Adventure of Dreamland, from east to west. And I never forgotten my roots, Taiwan. I was teaching there for the theological college. So my whole life is always associated with church's music, and my passion for chamber music and piano students. So every day I will continue to empower my students through my daily lesson, teaching lesson, and mentorship.
Yes. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's so wonderful to have so many countries here, right? To just go, do you feel like we're on a global adventure here, just meeting everyone from so many countries? Thank you, Yin Yin. We're going to go over to Doreen. Hello, Doreen. How are you doing? And tell us about where you are and what was your big impact from looking back at writing your story?
Okay, so I'm Doreen Hall. I'm originally from Long Island, New York, which is why I have this accent. But right now I live in Cleveland, Ohio. I lived in South Florida for 20 years before we, we should say Florida, here before we moved to Cleveland. So the weather's a little warm today. It's not too bad. But first I want to say I'm just really honored to be a part of this book and to see all these great musicians that I see on Facebook all the time. But I haven't had a chance to, really see everybody in person. So that's really, really exciting. And I know all y'all are just great, musicians and people. And when I had to sit down and write a chapter, it was kind of hard at first. I also have written a couple of books and I didn't really write them about myself. So I was thinking that I don't really feel like a superstar at all. So I decided to just write a chapter about what is a superstar. And I think anybody can be a superstar if you work hard and have influence on the people around you. And I want all of my students to feel like they're superstars when they're working and they're practicing and learning and doing the best that they can. They're really they're really able to do something significant. So that's one of the things I want to bring across. I like to write music. So I started writing music and publishing it. And I just like to keep busy and I always have some kind of new project on. So that's how I ended up doing this.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Well, congratulations. And I think our success just continues. Sometimes when we reflect back and we create products and things, but we don't often take the time to honor ourselves and celebrate our accomplishments. So it's kind of nice to look back and say, wow, that was pretty cool. And perhaps we will inspire others to kind of take the journey too. So thank you, Doreen, for sharing that. We're going to travel to Miss Louise with her angels.
Yes, thank you very much, Glory. This is a wonderful experience for all of us, I know. And I wanted to particularly say, Bradley, I taught and owned a music studio in Columbus, Ohio named Encore Music Studio for 5 years. And then we moved out to California. I'm in California now, and I've lived all over the place. Our family was very peripatetic, as they say. I thought it was a wonderful experience to write about. I thought about my life a lot because there have been so many bumps and grinds in my life and maybe in everybody's life, but those have all helped me to become a full human being, I think. In fact, I had a couple of anecdotes. A student came to be judged by me, and I thought, it's 5 o'clock. Excuse me, I've been here since 9 o'clock, and I can't go on. So I'm just going to write whatever I think. And the thought came to me, no, this is his first time with you. Maybe you saw 15 people today, but this is his first time. He turned out to be, and I thought, okay, I'll be the best teacher, best judge I can, or best writer on him. And he turned out to be a lifetime friend. He's just a wonderful guy, and I couldn't stop writing enough. It's like I was unleashed then. So that was a good experience for me. But when I was young, I had this inkling that I should know how things work. And so that drove me to get a PhD in music theory. And I thought, well, I'll be a college teacher and be a college professor and blah, blah, blah. Well, I was that for a while, but not even in that. But how it's changed my life is I see everything through theoretical glasses. So that man who came to be judged by me, that was part of the equation. And then I had this thought, PhDs should be teaching grade school. Kindergarten maybe, because we have an idea of what, or everybody does have this idea of that the world is where you should start, the whole world. When Margaret Mead was asked what should children be taught first, she said the world, the universe, in fact. So when I teach, I do think of that often and try to include everything I can about that subject. But then I think I morphed into this other thing that I am hoping I'm now, and that is I'm a colleague with every student. I sometimes say to them, well, I don't know how to fix this. This is how I fixed it in my piece. You try this, and so it's become a different kind of a relationship, which I find much more fulfilling than I'm the master, I'm the teacher. I don't feel like the master. I am just on a road, maybe a little ahead of them in knowledge and just facts, maybe not even in the outcome. And I've learned so much from my students from that, and I'm very grateful. And writing this chapter was another aspect of that, bringing together what I think of my life and how I'm progressing. I meditate every morning at 8 o'clock with a group, and I've learned that there is no tomorrow. There's only now. Mm-hmm. So every minute of now helps. And then somebody else said there are lots of tomorrows. They happen over and over and over again. I was once in a restaurant and it said free beer tomorrow. So that's how it never happens. It never comes up. Anyway, I'm just so grateful to be with all of you, and I'm honored to know you and to look at your smiling faces. It's just wonderful. Yeah. And thank you, Glory, for everything.
Yeah, thank you, Louise. Thanks for making us all smile. We want to go to that place tomorrow. We'll keep going. Thank you so much, Louise. We're going to head over to Miss Shirley. Hi, Shirley.
Hello, everyone. My name is Shirley Wong, and I'm an operatic soprano and a podcast host. I was born and raised in Taiwan and educated in the U.S. and you've met my fellow countrywoman, Ying, who's also from Taiwan. And I'm straddling between Florida. That's why I'm in sleeveless dress while everybody is bundled up. Mm-hmm. And also Los Angeles. Ying and I are actually closing up as neighbors that we even met for coffee in person before. So it's really fun. And you can see I have my microphone here for my podcast, and this is a painting that was painted live during one of my performances. The artist said this is a painting of my voice. And I think to be a performer, you become a public figure, and whatever happens with you, you feel like the world knows, but never the complete picture. And as a musician, we're also conditioned to always move forward, right? We're thinking about the next measure. We're thinking about the next phrase. We're thinking about the next piece, the next project. And I almost didn't write this chapter because I didn't know how I felt. In 2018 into 2019, I had a major illness. And I went from having 30 plus solo concerts every year to 0 in 2018 into 2019. And, people know something's happening, and you also know people don't really want to know the real story sometimes. Mm-hmm. And when 2020 hit, I was relieved because I wasn't the only person who was not performing in public. That gave me a chance to heal. But the personality and the drive and the habit of always moving forward makes it very difficult to revisit where I just came from, really just 3 years ago, 2 years ago, physically. And so writing this chapter has given me an opportunity to learn how to be human about being a performer. And I think we need to remember that, because I think in most cases, the hardest person are ourselves as performers are not our audience members, are not the critics, are not our teachers or coaches, it's ourselves. And if we don't give ourselves a break, we're going to literally break. So Glory, thank you so much for helping me to make sure this project comes to fruition. It's tremendously helpful.
Yeah, thank you so much, Shirley. And Shirley has become such a dear friend and colleague as we go through so many more projects together. So thank you, Shirley, for being here and certainly for writing and sharing your story. It's so heartfelt. Shirley is also an author in some of the other publications. And so you kind of see her journey as she's going through it. So thank you. And finally, we're going to Mr. Christopher Norton across the globe, and now he's arrived as my neighbor. Welcome, Christopher.
Thank you. Yes, so I'm obviously now in Canada, but started off in New Zealand and then was in Britain for 40 years. So it's a rather strange trajectory. And the articles we were writing was about one's kind of climb to superstardom. And in fact, what I was saying was that often it's a long, slow climb, not superstardom so much, but so that your name is known to most parts of the market you work in. As you all know, it takes quite a lot of doing just for teachers in America or teachers in Canada or teachers in Europe to have even heard of you, let alone be familiar with what you've actually done. And I've discovered that in the pandemic that the role of social media has become very helpful, because obviously you can talk to the same number of teachers or more at the time. For instance, I've just done a whole series of seminars for the Associated Board in London. Funnily enough, those are run by a girl in Australia, so it's 8:30 at night for her. It's 5 a.m. for me. So it's crazy time differences. But anyway, I've been able to reach a whole variety of groups much more effectively without having to travel there, and that's been a great thing, because I traveled internationally so much, and of course it does take an awful lot of your time and energy to travel. Not having to travel has been a real bonus. So I think, if anything, that market awareness of who I am and what I've been doing, it has been helped by the pandemic. I don't know if anybody else has found that, but because you can focus more readily, if you like, on what you do, and also talk to people who are interested in what you do very specifically, which would be hard to reach if you were just going to a place, because, with the pandemic still on, I think you'd find it difficult to get teachers to congregate together, even a group of 15 or something. And then, of course, subsequently, as you all know also, if you do a broadcast, you can discover that thousands of people watch it afterwards. It's not necessarily down to the number of people at the time. It's the fact that people watch the rebroadcast of it, which is significant. So I've been doing tons of webcasts and masterclasses and composition things all around the world, and they seem to be escalating, if anything. So it's almost become my full-time work.
Yes.
Which is fun.
Well, and Christopher Norton, who's a composer, and I don't know how many books you've written, Christopher. I know there's tons of them. But speaking of being a superstar, I remember when Christopher was here in Winnipeg doing a workshop, and my students had the privilege of performing his works for him. And at the end, they're like, "Oh, I got to get his autograph. He's a superstar. Like, I got to get his autograph." So sometimes we do our work because, as you said, we're just moving forward because there's always another piece you're working on, but don't realize what other people think of us, right? That you are a superstar in their mind, and they're just excited to be having you as part of their curriculum. And they still have the books with your signature. So,
well, in fact, unsigned copies of my books have become quite collectible.
Well, thank you, Christopher, so much. Yes, we met quite often. It's a great honor to have you, and thank you for writing your chapter. We're going to move over to, I hope I didn't forget anyone, because we're going to pop in and visit our editors that make the magic happen. I'm going to start with Miss Lisa. You had to read every chapter. Some of you just worked on your own, but she was in there with every one of them. And then I'll jump over to Wendy. So how are you doing, Miss Lisa?
Terrific. Thank you for having me, and congratulations to all of you. This was a really great volume in the series, so that's fabulous. But I'm Lisa McGrath. I'm in the Pacific Northwest near Seattle, Washington, and I've been a writing teacher for over 25 years. And with my company, Pages with Purpose, I help entrepreneurs, coaches, and aspiring writers take the author's journey to get published. So it's been a great honor to work and collaborate with all of you and with Wendy to have this series, this international best-selling series, introduce the world to your work. And that's what it's about. I love teaching. I have a class that I mentioned before that is writing and publishing and marketing for entrepreneurs and coaches and aspiring writers. And it really teaches you, as Chris said, to promote and to market yourself. You all have a gift. And reading these chapters, I've learned that the musicality and the gift that you have has the power of healing. So it's been a pleasure and an honor to work with every one of you. And Glory, thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, thank you, Lisa. Couldn't do it without you. Wouldn't want to. And last but not least is the lovely Wendy H Jones. I will let her introduce herself. Hi, Wendy.
Hi, thank you, Glory. And thank you to all of you. And thank you for letting me be a part of your journey. It's been a really privilege to be involved in this and to be able to support you to becoming international best-selling authors. So congratulations to each and every one of you on that. and very well deserved. This was a powerful book and I really enjoyed working on it. I am Wendy H Jones. The H is frightfully important for various reasons that we won't go into tonight, but you really do. It's the most important H in the history of the world if you look me up on Amazon. If you miss it out, you'll get a surprise. That's all I'll say. I am an international prize-winning, international best-selling author, multi-prize-winning, multi-best-selling author of numerous books, adult mysteries, young adult mysteries, children's picture books, books for writers. I run the Authorpreneur Accelerator Academy where I help people publish their books. I help people write their books, edit their books, publish their books. I'm an editor. I'm a publisher. And I'm also the president of the Scottish Association of Writers. So I'm really very firmly steeped in the writing world, and I do a lot of editing. I do a lot of publication on behalf of other people, and I was honoured to be able to help Glory to publish the entire series. So I've done a lot of the publication as well, and the formatting and getting the books ready to go to market. I also teach marketing, so I have coached Glory and everyone else to get to international best-selling status, which is, I love doing it. I'm an international public speaker as well, and I've spoken all over the world. Funnily enough, I haven't done a lot of speaking over the world except by Zoom in the last 2 years. But just to finish, I'm excited about this. This has nothing to do with anything except I'm writing a new series. I've been asked to write a series about a lovely gentleman called Thomas Graham, who is... he was a real gentleman in the early 18th century from Scotland who joined the Royal Navy as a surgeon. Anyway, I've been given a grant from the Society of Authors to go to Antigua and do research for the book. So I'm very, very excited about that. So yeah, I love working with authors. I love doing research. I love all aspects of the writing journey, and I love helping other people to do that as well. So it's been a privilege to be able to do that. So thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations, Miss Wendy.
And I only got the grant about 3 weeks ago, so even I'm a bit shocked by it all. I'm going in April. I'm going for my birthday.
Yay, it's going to be wonderful. One of our favorite things that Wendy and I love is the little sign that she has right behind her, which says #1 bestseller. And Wendy, of course, we were chatting yesterday and she said, we did it again, international bestseller. And so anyway, I'm really grateful to all of you for, first of all, just jumping in and first writing your chapters, but also sharing our passion and encouraging others to check it out and go ahead and read it and so on. My name is Glory St. Germain. I am the author and the person who has compiled The Power of Why. I think my why was a year ago, we were just kind of sitting here under lockdown, and I thought, what can I do to maybe contribute to the world in some small way to help fellow musicians just feel empowered? And I thought, why not share our stories? If we can bring joy and hope and just inspire one little thought that maybe we can go down, as Ray said, go down the success path of, we just don't know where we're going to land up. So I'm very passionate about my chapter. I've shared 5 chapters, as has Joanne, in the series. So I hope that you enjoy reading them. Check it out. The Power of Why. 29 musicians climb to superstar. Book is now available on Amazon and bookdepository.com, and check it out. I want to say thank you so much to all of our authors for being here today, and I hope you get a chance to have a wonderful Christmas. It makes a great gift, by the way, and I will see everyone next year perhaps. So have a very Merry Christmas, everybody, and thank you for joining us today. Thank you.